Welcome to the Copywriting Clinic. Hosts are myself, I'm Kara, and Agnieszka, and we are, your copywriting hosts of the Copywriting Clinic. Welcome newcomers who haven't maybe been here before. This is a really casual meetup. Essentially what we do is we talk about copywriting. So we welcome you to bring what you're working on. As you're going through autonomy, you're going to start coming up with new ideas or business ventures, and these are all going to need copywriting. So we're going to help you with refining what you're working on. So again, pretty loose. We have a fairly small group. We might get more people popping in as we go. If you have something in mind for us to take a look at, kind of keep in mind parameters as far as like the length. So I know, Bobby, we were talking a little bit before how you mentioned you've got like a pretty big I think business plan or proposal that you're kind of working on. That is something that we could take a look at, but I'd like to focus it to one part. So we wouldn't have the space or time to look at like, say, like an 1100 word document, but we can definitely focus in on a piece of that and help doing some refining. We can help you with kind of the overarching themes and angles and how to speak to your audience. So there's lots of different things and directions that this kind of clinic can go in. So I'd love to just kind of open it up a little bit and see, I see new people in here. What are you working on? What's your drive for being here today?
I just popped in order to cause trouble.
Good. Glad you're here, Helen.
Good evening, Cara. Good evening, Agnieszka. Great to be here. I thought I'd pop in because I've got one that I actually have to start working on. I need to write out or summarize in a very nice pamphlet and leaflet what my consultancy offer is going to be. And I work for a management consultancy. I've been asked to lead up a team, and my team specializes in change management and change management program management officers. So the people who can talk about people-centric change, and we talk about how people are going to change as the first thing rather than the deployment and activation of a technical change. So yes, I have to write something by the end of the month, and I'm struggling to try and find time to do it. So I'm here because I need to grab some inspiration, some structure, and start to run with it.
Awesome. Wonderful to meet you, Jonathan. So you said this is what kind of a document is this?
It's probably going to be a PowerPoint presentation that's going to be whacked into PDF. So that's what I was going to do. I'm thinking it was going to be 6 to 8 pages long, maybe a bit more. The main things that I want to be able to address is a summary context. I'm thinking on the front page, then the following page with an overview of our methodology, and like most consulting methodologies, it's 4 or 5 steps. And with that, those steps, I was going to then follow on a page for each of those steps, essentially drawing out from an overarching roadmap to a smaller roadmap for each of the steps, winding up to.
But I think that for today, let's focus a little bit smaller because we're talking.
Oh, I haven't even written it, so I was just trying to answer the question. I can tell I should focus my question a bit more, and then I was going to finish up with just a couple of case studies and pictures of the companies that we've already provided this for.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that the thing we should maybe start off is working on your elevator pitch, so you have like a really good, succinct, easy way to explain what you do, and then as soon as you have that, everything can grow out of that. And you know what? And then you'll have the direction, the focus, and the vision all in place. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Is that something you'd like to practice with us today?
Let's find out what else we have on our plate, and that way we can decide.
That's a good idea. Okay.
how much time to allot to each section.
Oh,
Michael,
this is why I have a co-host.
I think this is really interesting. I'm just here to see what copywriting is. So this would be a perfect example to witness. I appreciate it.
nice.
So,
Well, nice.
Yeah, so
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm supporting Bobby in his effort today.
great.
So Jonathan and Bobby, basically, that's it. But, okay, so I just want to be very, very clear that those people that said they were flies on the wall, Helen and James, that does not mean that we're not expecting full-on contribution from you. Or at least, you know, if you have any idea, even if it's a silly idea, just throw it out there. Because even if your idea is not perfect and it doesn't work, somebody else might jump on that idea and hop onto a different one that's even better. You know what I mean?
Your
Sounds
hat could
great.
use even more flowers.
You think so? I can go get more.
I think it could use even more. Yeah. Sorry, you said just anything, no matter how silly. You have to be careful what you ask for, Agnieszka.
Oh yeah, Helen's in the room. You got to be careful with comments like that. No, that's a really good point though, is, you know, part of what this ends up being in these clinics is like a huge brainstorm session. And so, you know, I always loved from David Allen Getting Things Done, where he talked about brainstorming. He always talked about quantity over quality. And so that's what brainstorming, to get as many ideas out there as we can. 90% of them might end up being crap and we toss them in the trash, but they're going to trigger those pieces of gold nuggets that come out of that. So yeah.
And yeah, totally trigger and inspire other people. Like, you know, I might come up with something that's really stupid, but all of a sudden someone's thought of having like, oh, a floral hat farm, whatever that might be, or, you know, whatever. So yeah, it could be the building block to something else, no matter how inane it seems. And look how lovely her hat looks. So there you go.
Inspiration.
You're even more compelling than you were a few minutes ago.
There you go. I'll definitely help with the copywriting. All right, so who do we want to go with first, Jonathan or Bobby?
Do either of you have a time constraint? Is there any limitations like that?
yeah, I don't have, you know, but basically I could be here for 2 hours essentially.
Yeah, I have the 2 hours this evening, so that works well. I think Bobby's is probably a little bit more close to production, because mine, as Agnieszka suggested, I think I'm going to be spitballing and using everybody's assistance to really just drive those ideas to the elevator pitch. So,
But maybe we should start with that and like give it like a solid 15 minutes. And then we can give it Bobby a solid 15 minutes, and then we can switch back or something like that, or 20 minutes, and see where we're at and see which idea has more energy and more flow. And then we can pick and choose how we spend the rest of the time. So what do you think we start with, Jonathan? I think it's interesting. It's an interesting challenge, because here we have an entrepreneur starting his business and he needs his elevator pitch, right? But that's a difficult thing, especially for somebody who's a bit verbose, as Jonathan is. So what we need to do is we need to harness Jonathan's verboseness into only the best sentences that he can utter. And then we can put it into the smallest bit page possible, in order for him to be able to focus and organize his thoughts about how the business is and to explain to others. It's always the hardest to explain to others what you do. So Jonathan, tell us about your business.
thank you.
But small bite pieces so we can comment. Don't go on the big monologue. This is more like tennis than golf.
Mhm. We change people's behaviors through building up repeated actions that turn into activities that turn into behaviors.
Actions, opportunities, and behaviors.
Actions turn into opportunities, turn into behaviors. That's what you said.
I don't have anything. I don't have an input.
Hi, Jasmine.
So what's the before and after? Where before you come into the picture and help with your consulting and the management, give me the ideal before and after scenario.
That's quite difficult because we piggyback onto a form of technical change. And the current world of change management is that you will deploy and then activate either a program, a platform, a product, a system, and then you release it to the wild and expect that people are going to then start using it. Of course, they don't. They need to go through a process of adoption and then proficiency in their own skills of using it. And what we do is change the conversation or change the thinking to being those users and the people using the product, the system first. So we want to concentrate on their ability to, their readiness for the change, their ability to adopt the change as required, and then their growth and their continued use of the product itself to become proficient at the skills and the return of benefits that you're going to then have from people being good at using this new thing.
For the sake of this exercise, can you identify like a product that we could use as an example, something tangible, because I'm trying to really connect and kind of bring this down to a tangible space.
Yeah, probably one of the ones that will come up most likely is people coming into a new workplace, a new office building.
Okay.
Who's your ideal target market? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, like why would someone hire you in the first place? Like what's the scenario, the common reason why someone would come to you in the first place, and then who are they?
It would be large corporations, government departments. I do work for a big consultancy firm, and they already have a change program. So they're bringing in a new system, new platform, software. They're changing locations, or they're seeking to change the way that they're working, from reducing the number of buildings or anything. So they are going through a big change, and that change is going to be physical, but it's people that need to enact the change.
So basically, you're like a wedding planner for corporations.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we hang around to make sure that those first few months of marriage are actually pretty blissful. That's a very good analogy. I am stealing that.
It's yours.
Do you plug into the ecosystem of what they need to change, or do you consult by meeting them at where they are, like the government agency already has the programs and things they need to do, and you just set the actions of the humans, or do you actually provide products or do ecosystem?
Yeah, we plug into the ecosystem of the change. We have the technical change that people want to actually bring about. So that will be delivered, but we provide the interface, if you will, the connection to those who are going to be using it or providing that service.
Okay. So I'm getting a good idea of the before. How about the after?
Oh, that's obviously the sunlit uplands of the change. So how do we get there? It is the realization of your business case's benefits. It's the proficiency of your people in being able to use the new tools or adopt the new ways of working to maximize the potential of your system, your tool, your platform. It is a return on investment, and it is a greater likelihood of success of your program when programs already have a something ridiculous like 75% of programs, if not more, have a devaluation of the expected returns during the program delivery. So actually, we protect value, I suppose, is a shorter way of saying that. Protecting the value.
Well, you're protecting the value only if you're talking to the supplier of the software. If you're talking to the buyer of the software, you're protecting the investment.
Yeah, it's good on both of them. So the sponsor would be wanting, that money's committed. So you're right. We need to.
Yeah, but they only care about the thing they care about. So the guy who is supplying the product, he wants you to protect the value of his product. But the guy who's buying the product, he wants you to protect the investment that he put in the product. So you got to change your lingo here, depending who you're talking to, and make sure you use the right one. Because if you're not using the right one, you're missing their priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Like the person who's buying the software doesn't give a shit about the value of the software. They want it to work, right? And if they have to hire another guy to protect the value of the software they already investing, that's creepy. But like, you know what? The software should stand on its own, right? But in there, you're walking in as a protecting of their investment, making sure that your money doesn't go, down the toilet, because so many companies try to implement new software and fail. And ultimately that software just sits there, not doing a quarter of what it's able to do. And the company is losing money and time because nobody really ever learns their software. And it's a big hassle for everybody. Whereas, so it's really important in this particular thing that you change the lingo depending who you're speaking to, or where their money is, or their heart is, really.
Jonathan, you said 75% of people that implement new projects essentially fail at the outcome. Is that what you said? Or is that?
Yeah, or reduce their expected returns, mate.
Yeah.
That was a McKinsey study that came out with that.
So that's certainly significant.
So we've identified that for this particular target, that protecting the investment is a really important key feature benefit. What's some more? What else is important to them?
Improve user experience. Improved client experience.
Have you done a Halo strategy on this?
I do not know what a Halo strategy is.
It's the thing where you go online and you search for all the things that people say about a business that's similar to yours, or a problem that you solve, and you collect all of their sentences. So then when you're writing your advertisement, you use the client's own words in your descriptors.
Yeah, so this is it's a tactic that the Halo in particular was developed by Sabri Subi, and it's essentially, it's a form of mining. You're going onto the internet and you're mining discussion forums, comment threads on various books or products, just looking at anywhere where people who could be your target audience are talking about the keyword of what you're offering. And then the Halo strategy, I'll show you a template here, is a way to categorize all of this stuff. So we have different themes. So there's going to likely be different levels of the audience that you're talking to. And so, this is a starting place. I usually, when I start to do this, I really think about the different kinds of people that I'm trying to target. And so you might have, the creator of the product, you might have then, the end user. There's different people to think about with your audience. And so then you're categorizing in what their hopes and dreams are, their pains and fears, barriers and uncertainties, any unexpected insights that you might come up with. And then there's a spot at the bottom for a glossary of different verbiage to just keep track of. So this is a really helpful tool for this kind of audience research, because the best way that we can find to be able to speak to our audience is in their own words. And so we have to do a little bit of research to figure that out. One of the best other ways to do this is conducting surveys. I've really started to utilize customer surveys a lot more in the last several months, and it's been unbelievable the kind of gold that I've been able to get out of these surveys, because the halo is really, really useful. The problem is that when we're on these discussion forums, we're in these places and we're mining these comments, the people writing those comments might be your target audience, but they might not. There's really not really a way to know for sure. Whereas when you're able to conduct surveys, that these are the people that make up your target market. So just kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it, but just a really, really useful tool to just start in the process of getting to understand the language and the types of verbiage and things that people use. So I highly recommend this. I can definitely share this spreadsheet with you.
Yes, that'd be really kind. I'm really keen, I think, within the strategy of introducing more customer surveys. That's probably something we could do within our firm. We already do quite a lot of client feedback, but I don't think we're mining it for the purposes of what you've said there, Cara. That's actually an excellent idea. Especially, I've never seen that level of feedback going back in and fed back into any of our other marketing documents.
Right. A lot of people conduct surveys and then not even really do a whole lot with it. And there's so much that you can do with that insight.
And there's straight testimonials. If you do a survey, sentences from a survey are straight up testimonials that you can use everywhere. And often when people write a testimonial, they write this whole big thing, and sometimes some people have a hard time cutting it down, or they don't feel it's ethical because it's taken something out. Whereas in a survey, you're asking specific questions and you get that short answer specifically to your question. And then you can use either that or the specific words in your advertising.
I just conducted one for, we're working with Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, and just got to survey his full audience list. And I'm still mining through, 300 plus responses, and more keep trickling every day. But, we did a combination of open-ended questions, and then some where we just kind of needed to know, okay, he's going to be creating a course on detoxing. So we needed to find out, okay, have you tried detoxing in the past? How successful did you find the experience? I had an open-ended question I just mined the other day that was, what frustrated you the most about the experience? And the responses that I got created so much insight. And, it takes time to go through the data. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do it, is it takes time and effort to mine through those responses. But I was able to find an incredible amount of patterns. And what I love, Joanna Weave of Copy Hackers calls it sticky copy. And so a copy that really sticks out, interesting ways of saying things, because we're competing with a lot on the internet these days. And in order to stand out from the crowd, we have to find interesting ways of saying things, and not just interesting, but ways that your target audience is speaking about these topics, and being able to use their words right back to them. And that kind of, it builds trust. It shows understanding, that you understand your audience, and just creates
it resonates. It
builds a lot of rapport. It does. It resonates.
Yeah, and you'll find patterns. Like there's a certain pattern. Like say you sort of like look at what CEOs say about change management or implementing software change in their companies, right? And you're going to find that every one of them says, "Oh, that darn change," or they're going to have like a specific saying that they're saying that, "Oh, the stupid whatever software, whatever." And then, so depending how inappropriate it is, you can use it either just with you speaking, when you're speaking, haha, I know what you're saying, but you already know the lingo that they're using in their own closed quarters, right?
Yeah.
People can sniff when a marketer is talking to them. You know, you can tell when something was written by a marketer versus someone that actually understands, you know, what's going on for you.
What would be a good source if there's no time to conduct surveys? Because you're a consultant and you don't really have the inside of the, you know, of the client, unless you do. I'm not sure, Jonathan, but where can you go outside in an industry trades or somewhere? How do you get that connection to the people that are you're actually going to be using or need to be changing their actions?
As far as like who you're surveying, or you're talking about not having the time to do the survey. So are you referring to more like the Halo strategy?
Yeah, the Halo strategy, grab those terms and make that language applicable. Where would you go outside to the direct client?
There's a number of different areas, and that's where it kind of takes some detective work. So one really amazing tool that I'll show you guys is called Answer the Public. And this is where I usually start off, answerthepublic.com. And this is where you get to put in a keyword and it will tell you what people are searching for on the internet related to this keyword. So it's a really great way. So let's, what's a good keyword for your industry, Jonathan? Let's do this.
Whack-in change management.
One thing to keep in mind with this tool is it only allows 2 free searches per day and then everything else. So first it kind of gives you this visual format, but I usually go into the data and then you get to see all of the questions and inquiries that people are searching for on the internet. And so you get tons of data from here. You can export it as a CSV, so you can capture all the data. And then so this is always my starting point, trying to look for patterns, seeing what kind of variations of the same question that people are asking for and how much. And then you take these questions and you start popping them into places like Reddit and Quora, these different kind of discussion forums. Depending on your target audience, you might have to find some more specialized forums. I mean, definitely for like more corporate heads and things like that, you might want to start looking through things like LinkedIn and other more business level forums. There's, again, take some detective work. Also looking at reviews on things like Amazon, going through different books related to your industry and go through and mine those reviews. And you'll find a lot of really good, interesting things that people are talking about. And so then the Halo, the spreadsheet is where you get to categorize all that stuff. And there's a space for the source. So I always like to link back to where the source is. You can have a spot for notes. But this is where I usually end up starting, is places like Reddit, Quora, Amazon reviews. You can definitely go into things like Facebook groups. If you can, so a lot of them are private. Sometimes you have to try and, get past the gatekeeper to get in there. But those are some really good areas to search for responses based on what you're looking for.
That's brilliant. That's a really good thing for me to start with. Just one, I can see that we're already clicking on time and approaching the 15 minutes. I wanted to throw out the pain point. Most organizations' big pain point for change management is there is so much change. There's almost too much change going on, and there's not enough time.
Yeah.
Touch on that. And so with kind of coming back full circle of when you're going to be making this presentation, this PowerPoint, is the best way that you're going to be able to connect with them is to focus on those pain points. It's going to show that you understand them, that you understand that starting plate and the problems that they're experiencing, and then you can follow it up with how you provide the solution.
I just wanted to add something to what James said. He said that when we're talking to like a customer, this is what I understood his question to be. When you're like a freelancer or copywriter or somebody and you're talking to a customer, you don't have the time to do a full Halo strategy, but you want to know more about their business and their language. How do you do it? The way I do it is I ask some specific questions to the customer. I'll ask, who are the people? What do they worry about? When I say what they're concerning with, and the customer will be like, well, how do I know? And I'm like, well, what have they been talking to you about? Have you heard anything? Have they mentioned anything? Have they sent you an email? What did they mention in the email? And so I kind of mine the customer's memory for that, even though they think it's irrelevant. But then it's like, oh, they did say, oh, I did get an email that said this. You know what I mean? And there's always a few tidbits that you can go with. And of course, as you go along and write more and more for the same customer, you're going to have more and more feel for what they react well to and what they don't react well to. That's it. And
Great, thank you.
the whole time thing, Jonathan, is not like that whole written in stone thing. It was just sort of like a container.
No, you give me a good point there, because one of the things for change management, if you're thinking purely about the technical deployment, you do have your activation date, but it's about the people who are using this new tool. They need to adopt it and they need to become proficient at it, so that it is reversing the problem that they have. Too late for too much change. Actually, there needs to be a mindset, a change of the cognitive fixedness, that people have to realize that people can continue to adopt and continue to progress with the change journey and getting better. So it's something, change management and change can be enduring, which, funnily enough, if you're selling a service, that's what you want. You want it to be enduring.
Pain sells better than pleasure. It's true.
Very good. I'm also thinking that one. That seems actually quite adapt and related to the wedding planner.
But okay, but you have to think about something else too, because you're not, so you have all these different customers, right? Your one customer is the person who's selling the software. You might help them out with implementing the change in their client's business, right? Your second level customer is the client. They may or may not hire you to help you implement the change from this other software company. But the third level is the actual employees of the client, right?
Yep.
And I know that's not decisive during the point of decision making, because the CEO or whatever, the management team will decide. But when you're actually in the company, there's a whole other level of acceptance and love that you can get when you're thinking about, because the whole too much change, not enough time, that's good for the CEO. But for the admin staff and the regular employees, it's like learning the new software. It's really painful. You have to give up it's like moving, right, to a different house. You have to give up all the stuff you like. And often you like it very much. And it's very painful, right? So really understanding, and the pain of the employees kind of rolls uphill toward the management team too, right? So
yes. Yes.
Addressing that pain, that whole thing with, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We're never gonna be able to use the old blanket anymore. We have to use the new blanket, and it's scratchy and I don't like it. And but in the cold day, then it becomes warmer, and then it's a good thing, right? But you have to manage, what I'm saying.
You're right.
I lost my own train of thought there. Kind of
No, it's a very good point, because when this change comes along, management just doesn't have the they can no longer rely on their old management skills, because the terrain has changed. They themselves need to be adapting and adapt and lead for these users, as you said, the end employees, who are going to be the ones affected by the change.
The admin staff does. Everything is rolled onto the admin staff, and they're told to figure everything out. And once they have everything figured out, they teach the CEO and the management team.
Yep.
Right? They're the last ones to implement change or even use the new program.
And all too often they rely on sort of raw sloganism to try to encourage people. And I think that it may work to someone who's very new in a business, in the same sense that I once thought that when the CEO says, "My door is always open," that was actually a thing, which, is obviously painfully stupid. And once you sort of figure all that stuff out and you hear people say these little slogans, it's like, yeah, well, that's a bunch of crap. And I think it's too easy. Like, I've been to too many places where they're changing things up yet again, and it's going to be the best thing ever. And they have taglines and stuff, but it doesn't actually correspond to anything real.
You're right. Yeah. And the ideas, so new versions of change management, rather than do the rah-rah, you would invest in two axes. So a centralized spine of the management to make sure that they are enabled to be able to use the new product or the service, that they are going to be able to be the early adopters and early adapters to something that has changed. The second one is the matrix of spreading the enthusiasm around throughout the organization. That network, you want the early adopters to be enthusiastic and allow them, empower them, give them favors so they start to run ahead and other people want to catch up to them or be part of the party, if you will. And it's the last ones at the end who will, of course, find their way, that they are starting to be left behind. However, the sloganeering that you described there, that's almost the blanket that you first target those people who are going to be your laggards, who are, for whatever reason, going to be the slowest to adopt to the new change.
And but this affects the CEOs in a way that when Susie, the admin, cries in the bathroom because of the new software, she's not effectively doing her job, and that affects the CEO. So minimum Susie's tears does benefit the CEO.
I was just going to kind of add to something in regard to kind of the halo strategy and the idea of kind of identifying the power words that are within the particular audience that you're trying to approach. It is really significant. There's a presentation by Professor Larry McErney at University of Chicago, and it's The Craft of Writing Effectively is the title of the video. It's about an hour presentation. It's actually to like the master's degree program at University of Chicago. And he like totally trashes like standard practice as far as writing, and says, like, you know, if you don't converse with people in the language that they're familiar with, then you're basically not gaining trust. You're not gaining credibility. And that's really where that halo strategy comes into play as being super effective, as you start to learn their lingo. And, you know, of course, you know, you're talking to different clients that are maybe in different businesses, whether it be in industry or in government. They've got their own lingo, and being able to converse in that particular language is I think, paramount to getting them to either trust you and say, oh yeah, okay, he knows what he's doing, versus he's not talking in our language. But I think that's a great presentation. I'll link that in the chat if you want to take a look at it. I think it's a great presentation.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
And I think we decide where everybody's going to put their notes so that they're all in the same place. Because I'm sure every one of us wrote at least a sentence or two with stuff that could be useful to Jonathan. Where do you want them, Kara? Boss lady?
I would say in the Zoom chat, and then I can attach the chat file to the recording after.
Okay.
Jonathan, was that just a consulting? What was it? The software for change management? Or was it a consulting?
No, it's a consulting offer. So we offer
the software?
Not necessarily just software. We will do anything from buildings, new technical deployments. At the moment, I am working on software. One that I was going to be was some stakeholder engagement for a major refurbishment of some important buildings in the City of London, where we're going to move people out from those buildings, put them into a new location, rebuild it, and then move them back in 2 years' time. I think I've frozen. Sorry, I think I froze there.
You're good.
Okay, cool.
And then Jonathan, can I ask one question also? Is your industry, is it, or your client, do you think they would favor highly technical language or more, I don't know what the range would be, if someone could help me, but ranging from the lower is, I guess, you'd meet them in a pub versus meet them in a highly technical area, or what, what type of
Yeah.
language are they like?
These people are that I'd be plugging it to are on six-figure salaries. So yes, business speak.
Business technical.
Yeah.
Business speak with an edge of human.
Yes,
An
yes,
edge.
please.
Told us to do this in Zoom chat, and there's only one drawback. We have to make sure we enter it before the meeting ends, because otherwise it disappears forever. Because on Discord,
Copy and paste.
well, no, if she wanted it on Discord, I could just type it up after the meeting, but I have to type everything I wrote right now.
Oh, well, you can, that's fine. You can do it after. It's not a problem. As far as where, I'm not sure. There is a writing room in the Autonomy server, or we could send the notes directly to Jonathan.
We could. So there's the, do you guys have access to the copywriting room? Is that a copywriting? Is that what it's called, or writing?
I think it's the writing room.
But I don't know if these season 6 guys have access to those rooms.
Oh, they might not yet. I mean,
I wrote something in the poetry room today to sing. But
I mean, we could probably put it in class chat, and just tag Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm season 5, so I have full access, but those people from season 6 who are also contributing, it'd be great to have their thoughts too.
and quite honestly, I don't know if all I wrote is so all that brilliant, but it might seed some other ideas. So.
It's better than the blank page I'm starting with, Agnieszka, so I appreciate your thoughts.
Perfect. I'm sure Helen came up with some brilliant stuff. She is brilliant.
Oh, she is.
And funny. And delightful.
Very clever. Yeah.
Very clever.
Delightful.
I'm modestly clever,
Good brain.
or cleverly modest.
Revolutionary brain. Cleverly clever.
What do we think? Should we do a little bit more brainstorming here? Kind of see some heads down and writing. We could keep it quiet for a minute, or we can start to switch gears.
I think that maybe Helen or James can throw something at Jonathan they've been thinking about, maybe haven't said it because they haven't been saying much, unless they don't care. Jasmine or anybody, you know what I mean? Does anybody else have anything for Jonathan?
If anybody's thinking of anything, it's the call to action that would be great so that people take the next step. And
What is the next step?
often pay us a load of money for us to do it. No, in all seriousness, it would be, I suppose, reaching out, asking for a discovery session.
Hi, this is Jasmine.
Hi.
Hi, I came in just a little bit late, and I just was curious of like a little bit of a summation of the exercise that you guys were working on right when I came in.
Sure. We've just been exploring with Jonathan. He has his management consulting gig that he's trying to work on his pitch. So we were kind of just helping, doing like a brainstorm session of just trying to hone in on like his target audience, different ways that they might want to be spoken to, different messaging ideas. And so we're kind of at the point now where we're starting to wrap that up just a little bit and just kind of thinking of any types of messaging ideas that we could throw at Jonathan that might spark more for him.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Kara. I remember I've seen your testimony on the.
I'm
So
still
it's nice
getting
to meet
used to
you.
that. I'm still getting used to like people knowing who I am before I meet them. It's new.
It's so weird.
You're a celebrity.
That
Um,
happened to me at Mike's house. Somebody came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I've seen all your videos." I'm like, "What video?" "You're my copywriting teacher." I'm like, "What? Who are you?" And I didn't even know he was Autonomy, so I thought he actually found these videos on YouTube somehow.
I guess I do have them as on public, set on public, so
You don't advertise them.
no, I don't.
I'm very interested in learning the skills of copywriting. I was curious if there were other resources that I can look for, like in the meantime, in between these kinds of meetings, that I could, do some more involved, like studying on my own.
Like all those videos
Yeah.
we did before.
Yeah, we've got definitely a collection of past copywriting clinics. I'll have a resource sheet that, why don't I dig up and share with you guys? Because that's got a link to some of our most popular and substantial clinics that we've done. So let me look that up right back.
And she'll send you the canned version of Agnieszka and Kara, and then you can use them whenever you want.
Yeah, and Kara, you've got some really
That's a good joke.
good resources somewhere. I always forget about where they are, and then when I need them,
Google
if I
them.
remember them, I look for them, and I'm like, I don't know
Google.
where they are.
On Google. There's a whole thing on Google.
Well, there are, but in this case, they're curated. They're ones that Kara has chosen that I know are good, right? And if you don't remember the title, getting the specific thing could be a little bit more challenging. But I have heard of Google, so I've used that
Right.
sometime.
I just put a link in the chat, and I'll show you guys kind of what we're looking at here. So this is something that I've been collecting over a little bit of time. I haven't updated in a while, but this is a growing list of resources. So you may or may not have access to the full copywriting clinic list in the Kajabi, but I made sure to also include the YouTube links in here. So we have a variety of different clinics about different topics. So this was like a really great, the How to Not Break Trust While Copywriting was our very first clinic that we did. And that gave like a really nice broad overview of all things copywriting. Then we kind of started to get more into the weeds in later weeks. So we had audience research, talks about landing pages, home pages, honing in on your target market, exploring sales funnels, welcome emails, some social media, and then email deliverability. I think we need to update this one. But this is a good starting place. There's also a link to all of the handouts that have additional links to articles and resources and other great things that we found. And then some different tools. Hemingway app is one of our favorite tools that every early copywriter should get used to using. It determines readability. So it brings those extra complicated sentences that we tend to write. It helps you identify when things are too complicated for your audience and that you need to just kind of simplify it, break up those long sentences and get the readability down. This is like a Yeah.
It works in other languages too, because I accidentally or not accidentally, but I needed somewhere to put a bunch of text in Dutch. And I threw it in there because I was putting it in Google Translator for a client to write an email on it. And the thing checked Dutch and it was showing me which sentences were too long. And I was like, whoa, I thought this was an English app. So you can always try a different language and see if it works. I mean, the only one I tried was yesterday, the Dutch, but yeah, that was weird.
Interesting. That's cool to know. Tons and tons of great copywriting formulas. This is a ridiculously long and large resource of it's literally like every copywriting formula ever. Great resource from copy hackers. Then a variety of other tools, headline analyzers to determine the emotional impact of your words, which is really great. What's up?
You're missing the Facebook group, the Cult of Copy.
Oh, have to get me a link and we can add it in. Audience research stuff. So it's like where you got like the answer of the public, the spreadsheets that I've created and resources. I've got a link to that where you can download these different things. So out of the Halo strategy, you can develop your dream buyer avatar. And so this is kind of takes all of that scattered information that you collect into your Halo spreadsheet and kind of brings it to life into, like it says, like this avatar. And then a features and benefits worksheet is a really great tool. And actually, Jonathan, that could be a good exercise for you as well, is to work on a features and benefits spreadsheet. So that's just a 2-column spreadsheet. And on one side, you list all the features that you can think about your offering and your business. And then you link it to all of their corresponding benefits, because, you know, and even when you're speaking to these high-level business owners, they're still humans, right? And so people resonate and connect with the benefits. So those are another really great tools to use. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I honestly haven't even checked this in a while. Oh, we have like our spam trigger words to avoid, which also probably needs to be, we probably need an updated one of that. They might have updated their own list though. Subject line testers. There's a variety of other things. And so in addition to this, you guys, is I have been in development of a full copywriting course. It is actually really, really close to being released to all of you guys. We had the beta version last season and went really, really well. I'm making some updates to some of the videos, but it's literally like a full course. The process of copywriting, it's all the fundamentals. In fact, I need a more clever name for it, but what I called it was Autonomy Unlimited Copywriting Fundamentals. So that's, you know, it's, at least it's clear, it's what you get. But that's going through all of it: website copy, landing pages, sales funnels, email marketing, which I still need to expand that whole module out a little bit more. But this is really, really close to having a full announcement in Autonomy. So there is more copywriting resources coming your way, but this is at least a really good starting place for you to get familiar with right now. And the copywriting clinics, definitely a lot of good information in there. I hope this helps.
Thanks. I'll definitely start running through all of those. And thank you for that resource. I got a little bit more homework to do. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jasmine. And there's that cult of copy.
I use their Facebook group. There's a lot of really clever ideas that they share and stuff. I don't really add to it, but I read their stuff. It's interesting.
Cool.
Sometimes you get to read really bad copy. Sometimes some really good copy.
All right, I'm adding it in there.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Are we gonna talk to Mr. Boyce now or what?
We are.
Jasmine, you lost hope that we will ever get back to him. Somebody listening. Bobby? Earth to Bobby?
Oh, you're muted.
Good. So stuff coming out of your mouth is not coming to us.
Oh, are you talking to me?
Mr. Boyce.
No, my Zoom screen disappears. I got where you're swiping through the screens, and it's all different screens, and then I can hear you guys, and I can't find the Zoom screen. So you guys are talking, and I'm like,
You're hiding.
can't find anything. Yeah, so what this has been a long time incubating. Like, I don't know, it's really something I've been thinking about for 30 years is how to work with the hemp industry and how that dovetails with Shambhala and then Western society. So, I mean, I've got a 45-page business plan I wrote up 5 years ago. And I've just it kind of revolves around a fundraising campaign for a crypto token to fund it, then that would be as what do you call it? The means of you have use case within the community that gets developed around the business vision. So the idea, I guess, is to copy for a white paper. But I have this executive summary that I just wrote that's, like I was saying, is 1,100 words, but it is more covering.
Okay, tell me, wait, hang on. Tell me about this white paper. What is this white paper thing that you're talking about? Like a download?
Well, that's what the ICOs and cryptos, they use what's called a white paper. And it's basically like a business plan, essentially, that you put on the internet, and you're on a landing page, and then it clicks, you have this rollout of, a lot of them have the steps to where you're going to be in a couple of years, kind of like what I think you were talking about, a wireframe, wireframing of where you see the idea is going to go. And yeah, so it's really the target audience is what I started out. Yeah, I don't know. It's 1,100 words, but it's like, maybe you want to read the first paragraph of this?
Yeah. I'd like to focus in on part of it.
Yeah, because well, the thing about the executive summary, it doesn't get into the details of what I'm envisioning tangibly to use with it's like, it's got a lot to do with building buildings and creating communities, and it's much more about the transcendental, bigger view of everything. So it's more about like the history of humanity and why this is needed right now.
What is your like 50,000 foot vision with this?
It's like a global enterprise, something resembling a mix of an organic McDonald's and Marriott hotel, and a monastery. Not really a monastery, but something like a Dharma center.
But do you mind if I throw in here, because I do feel like this is kind of the problem that similar to what Howard has just demonstrated with his kind of little video that opens his Indiegogo. It's a nice vision of what he has in mind, and I think that's that's what we want to get for Bobby, is that idea in regard to some of the things that are coming to play. Bobby is basically the emissary of this ancient wisdom that comes from millennia of collecting and experiencing human nature, that is the Shambhala way of the warrior, that really is kind of a methodology to bring about like adulthood for people, and raise them out of kind of being dependent on anybody else or any other system. So that wisdom, he's the carrier of that. So to some degree, he's the visionary that's bringing this to our community. And then in regard to the other part, the hemp is really kind of the symbol of abundance that our world can bring about. That is really the proof that we live in a world of abundance, because it has the ability through essentially knowledge and education, that there's just an unlimited amount of products and services that can be provided through hemp. And so then putting those two together with an understanding of kind of the way that people have been fooled through like the New World Order and the influence of the fiat money system, this is really kind of a way that like a local community can kind of build a community center, a economic center that then they can empower their local, their local people to, essentially establish themselves in the world as a node for an enlightened society. How does that sound, Bobby?
Sounded good. Sounds about right.
But can you send Kara a link to that executive summary so that we can kind of take a look at that?
Yeah, just this kind of this is kind of like the transcendental version of it. It's like, I've been speaking with Mike and a couple of other autonomy students who I'm kind of like starting this mastermind group. And, I had this business plan that I kind of modified after cryptocurrency came on the scene, and I saw that I'd missed the boat on that, and about creating your own token. And so this, yeah, I can send that. Should I send that to you, Kara?
Yeah.
In like Discord?
Sure.
All right, let me see here. Let me see if I can just drag it into a message to you.
To me, this is also a way that we can, it is kind of an answer to a lot of problems that we face as our individual projects. I think what Bobby offers is this way to kind of unite local communities together and then demonstrate how to collaborate together. And I do feel like where we're going and the timing of a lot of the things that are going on, it's an opportunity that we can collaborate and kind of combine a lot of different projects together. And Bobby's is just kind of one that is kind of encompassing of a lot of things like human nature and how it's different from the systems version of human nature.
You know what's weird? Bobby's been thinking about this for 30 years. I've been thinking about this for 30 years. And Danny's been thinking about this for 30 years. And there's like a huge overlap. Like they don't overlap totally. It's like 3 circles with like 2/3 of each circle overlapping in the same space. Like he's got the hemp thing, Danny's got the hydroponics, and I got the health clinic. But other than those elements, everything else overlaps completely.
Those 2 things were in my vision anyway. It's about a health and wellness.
And hydroponics was in my vision anyway, but it wasn't like focused. It was like, oh yeah, and there's gonna be that stuff too. But you were focused on the health thing. But like I want to get like a microscope and a laboratory. I want to get essential oil machine.
One of my best friends was a master of Chinese medicine. He studied it for 30 years, and he was just like a master healer, and he was, really could. I think that's natural medicines has definitely got to be rolled out on a much larger scale. It's like the ancient use of plant medicines and just like, that as far as we all know, the pharmaceutical industry has just co-opted everything and makes everything out of petroleum.
But it's even more complicated now, because now people who are like us, they're afraid to go to the doctor. And that guy that I did surgery on his foot, other than self-surgery, my only opportunity to have surgery on somebody else. I'm very proud of this moment. I love this. I loved every moment of it. There was no anesthetic, but he, you were there. But the thing is, he walked on that foot for 2 months because he was afraid to go to the doctor. So he basically couldn't put any weight on his heel. And he started getting hip problems because he couldn't put any weight on his heel. And then when I did the surgery on him, 12 hours later, he was walking normally. So it was like, think about
Yeah,
the pain
the
and
health
suffering.
component is huge. It's like everybody, it's like Mike and I talk a lot. It's like everybody's being traumatized by this psychological operation. It's like, kids have been wearing masks in their school for 2 years straight with muzzles on their face. My kids. And it's like, I'm traumatized by that. It's
Why
like,
didn't you leave Canada yet? What the fuck?
Yeah, here in Seattle, it's the same.
it's everywhere. Yeah.
And are you saying
Seattle?
you take?
Acapulco, maybe.
Are you saying you take Danny's hydroponics? You'd make a pharmacy for plant medicine and food? Is that it's a dual use? That's the genius.
Yeah, that's in the community. It's like that would be a training basis. It's like people and it it's a resource for the community that's always there. And then like Agnieszka, it would establish something that you could leave generationally as something that would be a training school or innovation lab and center that continues on and on, and you just need that kind of like protective container of like what the industrialists and these people who created the trusts that have lasted for generations, thousands of years. These trusts have been around since the Magna Carta, and they're the ones who created the trust to pass on their legacy in perpetuity. So I don't know. So what do you think, Kara? It's a little, it's pretty dense, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to, wrap my head around the overarching vision, but it definitely resonates with me. It was alternative medicine and actually getting connected with a Tibetan doctor that completely like opened my whole world up to just honestly kind of started me down this whole alternative path. Got to meet this amazing, his name is Patul Rinpoche, and he's, I had an STD that every Western doctor would tell you is incurable. And I had one session with him, and I remember with his translator, when I said the word incurable, and they both laughed, and he set me up with herbal medication. I've been blessed by monks in the Himalayas, and in 3 months, completely clean, and have been ever since. That was 5 years ago. So definitely a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, and it's so much easier. Like certain things for herbal medicine, it takes 12 to 24 hours versus the doctor medicine, it's 2 to 3 weeks, and it's just like a nasty. There's such necromancers. They want everything to fester.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what's missing from this executive summary is that it doesn't, it's hemp, Shambhala, and the New World Order, but it's really, I guess I touch it, other kind of, what do I say here? Other wholesome industries around hemp, food production, housing development, and all things grounded in basic goodness. Yeah. So
in my plan, I had the health center and apothecary, cold storage and ferment rooms, a corner store, visitor info center, a library, a craft center, an indoor classroom and yoga studio, a painting studio, a carpentry shop, a music studio and media production, and an amphitheater.
Yeah, that's it. We're overlapping in all of those.
Is this all self-contained? How will you store your crypto?
I don't really care about crypto, so don't talk to me about that.
Okay.
I think it's all fake. Like all money, not just crypto. I think that the only value is in chickens and goats and herbs and seeds and stuff. So I'm kind of weird.
Yeah, with the whole throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like money's actually a useful medium of exchange. I mean, that's why it's been, that's why it has such global dominance.
But see, I have the good ideas and I can flow, and then other people can take care of the money component because I'm really not that good at it. But I can, I can support in other ways. I can write a business plan and design it and, make it look good and all that other stuff. It's just when it comes to storing crypto and stuff, that's somebody else's design, because I don't play in that place.
I just meant in the center, how are you going to, or the center that it's built, how will you have the medium of exchange for the outside world? Will you need it? I mean,
are you talking? They would only be able to use. They can exchange their fiat to. You teach them how to turn their fiat into the cryptocurrency.
got it.
And you can only use that cryptocurrency within the ecosystem. And you get like rewards, like hotel rewards kind of thing. When you are in a hotel, you would get that crypto, and also you can do like live, work, trade scenarios where the business would be set up where people could get 3 squares a day, and if as like a work trade, and room and board also.
So
and get training in all these things like Agnieszka's health spa, and come out of it within 3 months while they're basically getting provided for, but they have a work trade, and then they come out of it with kind of like an apprentice level herbal understanding where they could go start their own thing.
I have to send you my objectives, because I don't think I sent you my objectives. I wrote them out.
so would these
You are getting sleepy?
Oh. I was responding to Helen in the chat. She double posted a thing and then said, or am I trying to hypnotize you all with repetition? So I said, you're getting sleepy.
That's that.
Oh no, that's Mike's new specialty, hypnotism.
really?
You?
He's studying the master hypnotist.
What a mesmerizing subject. I was just going to say, is the crypto idea, is that specific to a community, or is it something that would be embraced on a wider scale as like a means of investment or whatever?
Yeah, well, so it's folded into this idea of creating a trust that is essentially, the whole thing is based on the bodhisattva ideal of taking care of humanity, essentially. So you're stewards of, so people who are buying the trust, it would be like a bond or a share or stock in the company. But it's also, it would have these built-in things that they couldn't cash it in until it reached a certain point, or it would have different things. So how this cryptocurrency would be structured, what I would like to see is a cryptocurrency that is like used instead of just held until it appreciates into some kind of crazy number.
So in a way, it's like a crypto co-op.
Yeah, but it's open to the public. It's more like a little bit like hotel rewards.
Okay.
Of where you get a card when you go to that hotel, but it's like within this, the whole idea is that this would be a global enterprise. Like I was saying, McDonald's, you would see them in every city. And then you could go in there and be a part of that community by using that currency. Or you could hold it until it appreciates to its max level, which would be set at an equivalent of what a ton of hemp would be.
We can
But it starts out at 30 cents.
set it up in every.
What are you saying, Mike?
Go ahead.
I said,
Go ahead, Alan.
set it up in every city and have it like an embassy where it's not like the country, it's its own country, and then we'll have our own currency inside this mini country, representative of our own country. What are you gonna say, Mike?
It could very much be like that. Yeah, I think that's possible. I do feel like there's the opportunity to kind of go beyond where we currently see cryptocurrency because I think that one of the problems with our understanding of fiat currency and in relation to cryptocurrency is we've got such a homogenized view of what money functions as. There could be recognition of things like, like time. So you could have a currency that's related to time, and there's also other potential. So I think what with Bobby's idea, it's really to just hone the idea, and then like all these other areas, we could have people like subcontractors, almost like on a construction project, where the people that bid on the cryptocurrency part of this are like the real innovators in cryptocurrency. We could essentially just plug them into this project, and that's how we can collaborate on all these other things. Just like Agnieszka, your part could plug into Bobby's plan as well, and essentially you both help energize each other's projects.
And it could plug into your plan too with the 47 unit building, because we could send a medical practitioner there once a week with some basic medicine, and they could take down orders, and we could make medicine to order. Like the one thing with herbal medicine, you can't really make it ahead of time. So if somebody comes in with a rash, we need to, and that also would
So like the ultimate goal is an enlightened society, and a group of people around the world that are, striving towards an enlightened society, a parallel society to the madness of the current predominant society.
Michael, a random one for you. I'm thinking about the big data sets that are available from people's health records and combining those with the herbal remedies. So what is currently being done in some places around is anonymized health records are being circulated out to biomedical companies, and they are trying to use these and tracking them against what records and new medicines people are having. It's throwing out an idea that if you are going to have a herbal, a natural medical system as well, you could use those same Rockefeller techniques to see the value and the proof, and actually learn a lot more, a lot quicker of herbal remedies. So I don't have the big data set for that, nor the computing power, nor the access to all of a naturopath or natural medicine cooperative that would be able to start to combine those all together. But that seems like somebody with a few million to spare would be an interesting project.
But also I think there's a legality issue there, because I think that the medical and the herbal thing, they're not supposed to be mixed. And if you go to the doctor, they're like, don't talk to me about those evil herbal things. I don't want to talk about them. And,
So this is where the private member association comes into it. It's like, you can do whatever you want to in your own house.
See, and this is the beauty of Mexico too, because in Mexico, we can actually order our own tests, right? So we can go to the x-ray booth and say, hey, x-ray my arm. And you don't have to have like a doctor's note to x-ray your arm, and then you can come back to the clinic with your results, and you can see if it's affected or not. You know what I mean?
How revolutionary!
Right? Hey,
Well,
that's my P for da 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 da. But you're not supposed to know about it. You're not supposed to be able to pronounce those big words like x-ray.
There's a doctor out there. He's actually not a doctor. He is a doctor, but I'm not of medicine. But he's essentially saying most of the diseases of the 20th century are just nutritional deficiencies, or like chemical contaminations, or other things related to the work environment or the living environment that people are just not conducive to, because they're being socially engineered into things that are unnatural, and then there's a reaction to that. And so a lot of the stuff, it's just going back to nature.
You're quite right. And the move to smart cities and the condensing of people into these mega metropolises and the 15-minute cities where everything's going to be piled on top of each other, that is going to be a huge boost to allopathic medicine, because those 20th century syndromes, you're quite right, are only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I just learned of this guy, Daniel Bell, from the GTW Town Hall. He was in the C.S. Lewis book I never heard of either. C.S. Lewis, before he died, he wrote a dystopian novel. And I had never known that. I can't remember what it was called.
Hey, what's your name for your company, Bobby?
Beyond Concept Trust Company.
That's it? And the center, do you have any?
Well, that's a holding company that then is a parent company to, a brand, which would create like all of the clothing line and whatever. It's called Warrior Principle.
Nice.
And so that would be like, bed sheets and everything. So the idea originally revolved around creating a hotel, like you're saying, like with a health and well-being center, with an organic food site at each hotel.
Can I select the fabric for the bed sheets? Because we have a big bed sheet problem in Mexico.
It's hemp sheets. You can get hemp sheets for $600 a set on the market right now. It's like hemp sheets are a premium. So if you could get a hotel that mass produces hemp sheets, like,
That'd be awesome.
Hemp sheets on the cheap.
Generally getting natural fiber sheets or cloth of any kind here.
Right. Yeah, it's all just like plastic.
They're very much into plastic food, plastic clothes, plastic everything.
Yeah, I mean, we could quickly change that, especially in the third world. I mean, one guy contacted me from Sierra Leone because my friend was a human rights activist over there. And his mom was a big radio producer in Sierra Leone. And he's just like, yeah, I want to get into, hemp over here. And I was like, well, the first thing you need is a processing facility. He's like, no, man, we got guys just sitting around on the field. They'll do it with their hands. It's like, so that's, I mean, this is really, this coronavirus, it's just watching this unfold over the last 2 years. And, being in the know on this stuff for so long is just kind of like, and seeing how, almost the whole shambolic community is completely, what do you call it? Blue pilled on it. It's, buying it hook, line, and sinker, jabbing their kids with this shit. And
so do you own your own boat? Do you have a private boat or something? Like, how are you going to get out?
Oh my God. There's plenty of boats. I'll just steal one.
You just have to go around.
I have to know how to sail it though first. I'm just sitting there.
Well, most boats don't require sailing these days. But they do come with a GPS. So you might have to like disable that after you steal it. But you can go around America to the Mexico, and then you'd be fine.
I could just go through the Panama Canal.
How are you gonna get there? But it doesn't matter. Once you're in Mexico, you can take trains, planes, and automobiles. It's just that
we're gonna make our own boats out of hemp, Agnieszka. That's the whole plan. And cars and tractors and airplanes. And yeah, I mean, this is the thing about it. It's just like there's a real hemp is that's the whole thing. When I first found Rich, I was like, okay, I got to do what Rich and James Corbett are doing. I know about this stuff too, but I was a hemp advocate, and I was, connecting with that group of people who were trying to implement get industrial hemp legalized in the States, which turns out to be Dr. Bronner's grandson, David Bronner. He inherited his grandfather's soap business, and he was just like, I don't want to do this. I'm over in Amsterdam just smoking weed. And but then he came back and he did it, and then he became a hemp advocate, and so he started the Hemp Industries Association. And I met him, and I let that connection fade. I went to 2 of his events, and I mean, we had a real opportunity with industrial hemp to, just flip this thing, because now industrial hemp is flipped because of Trump. Trump basically re-legalized it in all the states. So you're able to grow hemp, legally, which is, a lot of us in this community are questioning the whole legal system to the core of it.
Do you mean how
Which
it's
is-
grown? Like there might be contaminants in it, or because we have a lot of hemp clothing up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about all that fabric is coming from China primarily, because China never banned hemp. And so there's a couple of people who I met. One woman, she's the main hemp fabrics. There's hemp traders down in San Francisco, and then a woman and her daughter who came to these hemp conferences. They are the primary hemp importers in Colorado for all of the states, like just the big reams of hemp fabric, these gigantic reams. And so it's be hard to set up a new hemp processing infrastructure, because China's already got it. They've got about 90 different hemp and hemp blend fabrics that they produce out of there. So ultimately, yeah, you would want to do that, but I think initially it would be about just doing proof of concept through using the hemp that's coming out of China for fabrics. But
so are we gonna get to look at like the opening paragraph of your executive summary?
yeah, well, should we do it? You think that okay, throw it up.
At least the opening paragraph. Did you send anything to me?
Yeah, I mean, I can open it on my screen and
Sure.
or
Yeah, you
share.
can. Yeah, you can screen
Yeah, I
share if you
sent
like.
it to you in Discord. I don't know if that makes it easier for you.
I didn't get anything.
Or maybe I didn't press send.
Oh, I see. It's in class chat. I see. Okay. Got it.
I thought you were reading it.
No, I didn't. It was just dropped in class chat. I wasn't paying attention. I thought it was coming in a private message, so I didn't even look at it.
Oh, does the whole class see that?
Yeah. Yeah, you dropped it in class chat.
Oh, I'm gonna erase that. So you
There's a
pull
little
it-
2. There's a little 2 there. It
Oh,
says
somebody-
everyone
Oh, Carl already saw it. Shit. Whoops. That wasn't meant to happen. Did you get it?
Yep. Beyond Concept Trust Company.
That's a great name, by the way.
There's definitely a story behind that too.
I think Hemingway would have a cow.
Oh yeah, it would be like this.
These sentences are too difficult. I can't watch.
My daughter edited it for me. She's like, geez, Dad, this is got a lot of redundancies in it.
You like the run-on sentences. Wow, where's the sentence end?
There's commas.
There are commas. It's true. It's all good. Throw it. Kara, can you grab that first paragraph and throw it in Hemingway and see what it says? Yep. Not to put you on the spot, Bobby, but just to show everybody how.
Yeah, no.
they-
Oh, this is so great.
Boom.
Yeah, I told you.
So
So that's good, yes?
Uh,
The only thing, only the stuff in the white is the good stuff, right? Pretty good.
yep,
2 sentences in the way.
Is that
6
is that
out of
one
9. So
sentence
there's
to-
only 9 sentences in this whole paragraph.
And it's got issue with all of them.
I actually do like it. It's just not written in this sort of simpletonish language that copywriting demands.
Right. Well, it's like
it looks like it's not.
It's
Well-
sort of got more of an academic feel, and it's great for that. It's
Exactly.
just, you know, not to make you feel like what you've done is bad in any way, because just at a quick glance, it's like, oh, this looks really interesting. And it, unlike many executive summaries, I want to keep on reading to find out more about this. But copywriting is very specifically about boiling things down into something that's super easy to take in without having to think about what you're reading.
All right, that's why I'm here. Look at this. This is like
Mhm.
doesn't
my rule
pass
of-
the Hemingway test.
Well, my rule of thumb is that if I have to read a sentence more than once to immediately grasp what's being communicated, then it needs to be adjusted. That's kind of my
Throw it in the chat. I want to play with it.
throw it in the chat. Sure.
Let me-
What's the green?
Those are the 2 things you did right. No, the green is passive language, and so they don't really like passive language. And so they're like, are you sure? Is this about an object, or are you just using passive language for no reason? So they're calling you out on your passive language.
Here, you know what I'm gonna do? Hold up. I know what I'm gonna do. Bear with
like-
me, friends.
By the way, who wrote Hemp's Got Heart? Oh, of course, Helen. Hemp's
Well,
Got
Helen
Heart.
put all sorts of great stuff in there.
Helen's amazing.
I've
Well-
been a scribbling mad woman,
A what?
a scribbling mad woman. That doesn't really make sense, but
Better naturally, courtesy of Hemp Sheets. Better
Guess who
pooping
ins-
naturally.
guess who inspired that one?
Anyway.
Always weird when people can watch me. Okay, good. Copy link. All right. Here you go, Agnieszka.
But I'm like putting it in Hemingway first. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Well,
Like
do
you-
you want to share your screen
Oh,
instead?
sure. You're off the hook. Which one?
So one thing I've learned from this is take the last sentence and put it at the front, usually. Right?
You learned that, but here I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this sentence and I'm going to put this at the beginning. Take this
Ah, yes.
See, I don't know what to do with the second half presented.
So the vision is for those, not is meant for those. Ah, so there you go. Got more white. Oh,
go back.
Okay.
Oh, period. Okay. Interrelated, yeah.
I'm wondering about, for some reason, I keep getting hung up on having hemp and the New World Order like in the same little bucket right there. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it, I said they're in a pitched battle? No. That's in the second.
Oh,
That's in the second paragraph.
no, but we can put it here. The internet, what's called the New World Order, and you are in a pitched battle. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the second paragraph down
Mhm.
below.
It's the only white one. Hemp and the New World Order are intertwined and locked in a pitched battle to cancel each other out.
Oh yeah, there it is.
I like both the sentences.
Mhm.
Why don't we vote? Which one to keep? Well, mine is yellow, yours is green.
I would
I-
change interrelated. That word is-
Interconnected.
It's a great word,
Interconnected.
but it just disrupts the flow. The worlds of hemp, the New World Order, and the new societal paradigms are in a pitched battle. Boom. Oh,
I was supposed to stay, Agnieszka.
I think you nuked a good sentence.
Just get rid of the interrelated.
Yeah, just the worlds of. Mhm.
So this one's out then?
So I was repeating now.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure about the whole idea of canceling each other out, which is now gone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I knew this was a bad sentence. I mean, it's white, urgently needed.
No, that's a good sentence. White
Oh,
is,
yeah.
don't you
Yeah,
know?
if it's highlighted, then you know it's got an issue.
What's the because it? The because it is because
It's Grammarly.
Oh.
That's a different tool that I've installed here, is saying that it doesn't like because it is. But
Can you-
it's stupid. So.
Can we switch it up and just say in 2021, this vision is urgently needed instead of the reason the vision is coming out?
Well, then it goes into the whole description of the coronavirus, you know, of the chaos and compliance unleashed.
Yeah. But this will be more succinct.
I mean, it's also in context with the rest of the
Let's say is
song.
needed like never before.
I hate to be marketing, but it's just very succinct and short. And
Oh, you're right, of course.
I think
And
that
here,
adding locked back into the previous sentence, locked in a pitch battle, is still a bit stronger because it implies that they're locked against one another as opposed to battling against whatever.
But then locked and pitched are opposed. Pitched is placed and secured. Locked is down. So you would pitch something in battle. The New World Order and new societal paradigms pitched in battle.
are pitched in battle.
Are locked in a pitched battle. I think
You like-
So pitch battle
You
is
could-
now makes no sense as but we've used it by such a wait, what's the word where it's
It's a
it's a
heated
common
battle or
use.
some kind of, you gotta, they're locked
Yeah.
in, you know.
or just
the-
locked in battle.
Yeah, but the battle is like epic. So
oh then
that
it's not pitched. The
Yeah.
epic is a battle word.
Right? Or is that too story?
Epic works
Mhm.
for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's actually epic as opposed to the way we normally use the word epic these days.
Like that was totally epic, man. Not that kind of epic.
I love Helen.
We want something that's efficacious. I don't think that's a word, but I just made it. So
Efficacious, I love it. So, help me with the sentence, because I know what he's trying to say here, but I'm still having a hard, because I want to say something like the chaos and it's not compliance, it's the force to compliance, is the pressure to comply.
Isn't the epic, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, isn't the epic battle basically between scarcity mindset and abundance mindset? Like, so the epic battle is really control of people's mind, people's perception of, is this a world of abundance or is this a world of scarcity?
That's true as an overarching vision, but I don't think we should say that here.
Yeah.
what about just a really short first sentence with something like we are the chaos and pressure to comply are
undoing centuries of effort. But
I was thinking just like one word, like are relentless. Centuries of effort are being undone. Like just something so it's a bit punchy. The chaos and pressure to comply are relentless. Just relentless. And then
Let's try creative, Jesus Christ.
Comma, yeah.
yeah, it could be comma, undoing centuries of cooperation.
yeah, that's true.
Of cooperation. And how do we say like the word connection, or how do we say this?
Centuries of cooperation.
Cooperation and and working in step as a family, supporting each other, something like that.
No, it's not cooperation. The whole idea around all of this is that it's undoing the work of all of these revolutionary visionaries of you know, like the founding fathers and you know, all the anarchists and just people who have been trying to rethink society.
Centuries of innovation, both intellectual and pragmatic.
Centuries of social innovations.
Yeah, social and industrial innovation. I don't know if you want to use the word industrial, but I'm trying to think like there's a tangibility to it, right? Like it's social innovation, but it's also making stuff with hemp or creating medicine with plants. Like there's an element of tangibility that I think would be good to convey. What do you guys think?
Socioeconomic innovations, political, yeah.
Social innovation is that brings into socialist. That's probably toxic as far as the words go. You're going to be turning off more people than you're turning on, such as your sentences of those people who I know you're trying to break people's fixedness by using such antagonistic people in the next two sentences, but you're wanting to make it a nice soft landing for people to be able to buy into this idea, which is naturally going to challenge them anyway. So you've got the pressure within the across the planet. You're removing the ability that people have had to stand on the shoulders of giants, of the people before them. So you're talking about a progression of societal advancement that has been happening since the Enlightenment. It's been a long day. I'm sorry, I can't think of the words.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, but that could be the wisdom, like age-old wisdom from like the cultures.
Or sorry, I just realized, like I read ahead and I was like, maybe we can just say, yeah, that unleashed, that they are undoing centuries of efforts of revolutionary mystics. Like this next sentence goes on to talk about that. So maybe we could just kill a portion of this that I'm struggling with and do. They are undoing centuries of efforts of revolutionary mystics, philosophers, radical, blah, blah, blah. Well, you guys can see it. And maybe we can cut this down into 2 sentences because it's a little bit long.
Well, the natural spot is here, but that's not going to fix the issue.
Even the Constitution writers of the American and French Revolution, even their work is being unraveled. They're even unraveling, because it is like an unraveling of everything, right? Like a sleeve or a ball of yarn. Hey, Pixel, good boy. You see.
It's not gonna like because it's passive. That's what it's got an issue with.
Active is the opposite of passive writing. Active writing, is that what it's called?
Passive words like is and has, as opposed to active, as in.
Or probably.
Or
Probably have an idea of what's going to happen. I have an idea of what's going to happen. That probably makes it passive.
Okay.
Centuries of something undone.
They're undoing centuries of accomplishments.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
That includes something of why it is good. Why is the work of these revolutionary mystics, philosophers, progressive movements, and the constitutional writers of the American and French revolutions, why is that good? We're assuming that people see this in a positive way without actually making it obvious to them. I know we want to take stuff out, but we need to make it obvious why these are goods and public goods.
I think that might require another sentence.
Yeah.
And I think maybe putting in a new paragraph at the end of unraveled would be good.
Like, so I was doing it while you said it.
You're so good. We're on the same wavelength.
And I put the stuff I cut out at the very bottom.
I totally do that too, because that way, otherwise I'm like, oh crap, that thing that I took out was so good. And sometimes it's not when I go back to look at it, but yeah, no, I always hang on to everything.
And I think it's too early to use an acronym for your company's name here, because it's the first time you're mentioning it in the first paragraph.
Yeah, I thought that too.
And BCTC is not a vision. It's a company or a trust. It has a vision, but it is not a vision. Right?
Yeah, it has a vision. I guess that's the vision.
Anyway,
It's based on a vision.
it's grounded in the ancient.
An idea is an idea.
Well, it's a company. It's a trust. So we don't have to say what it is because it says at the top what it is. Like such and such company, ABC Company of America. We don't say this company is a vision because it's not a vision.
Yeah, so this is the quote I'm putting in the chat. That this is from this anarchist Paul Goodman in his book Growing Up Absurd is where I got that whole idea of the mystics and all that. Missed revolutions that we have inherited. So he's talking about not capitalizing on the revolutions, that kind of unfinished revolutions that we've inherited. Well, it looks like you've already gone on to past that sentence.
I'm just. No, but there was some other sentence. I'm sure somebody wrote it down. Did you guys write down the sentence that Jonathan was talking about? Because I was a little lost there.
I think he was talking about adding to the why are the accomplishments of the revolutionaries and philosophers good? We need to define that a little better.
But maybe not in the first paragraph. I mean, yeah, but I think that can be out of that, like in the second paragraph or something. Because we'll be putting like, and I think it should say was based, wasn't it?
Well, it is.
See, and even here, Bobby, look, this can be a new sentence. See, and now it doesn't make sense.
Change it. Oh yeah, known as
It
sacred
didn't
language.
make sense to begin with, because now that I broke it down, it's easier to see that there's like a disconnect. Because Shambhala society is based on realizing the inherent basic goodness of all phenomena. One based on ego domination and absolute power. Sacred outlook.
Yeah, well, this is one, I think he took out what that was the
I didn't
subject
take-
to that.
Check this out.
One. Yeah, well, it's the Hemp Society and the Shambhala Society.
Example of the kingdom of Shambhala, where all beings are accountable for their own actions, and the whole society is based on realizing the inherent basic goodness of all phenomena, known as a sacred outlook. This basic goodness is based entirely on ego. So you have a mistake there. Because you're taking from the basic goodness and you're following you, that is based on ego, but it's not. See what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, let's see here.
Because the subject of the sentence before is the basic.
No,
goodness.
no, you see, you hemp and the New World Order are intertwined in a locked and pitched battle to cancel each other out, one based on ego. So
Okay.
you deleted that. So you're,
So I moved it.
yeah, you moved it up. So, but that was where that,
That's where that was. Okay.
yeah, I'm not totally retarded.
Nobody said
Nobody said you were.
No, that's my kid saying, Dad, you're not allowed to say that word.
Dad, be politically correct, damn it.
I love you.
And I will mention that we are at time. I can go a couple more minutes, but I do need to.
Okay, now that's plenty for me. I
Wrap
mean,
up.
that's just like obvious. It's like my whole paragraph was blood red.
Mhm.
I just wanted to see if we can break down this last bit.
Because it's like you've got the knowledge, you have all the pieces. It's just communicating them in a way that's going to be easy to understand quickly, right off the bat. Like you don't want, that's the last thing you want is for your audience to have to spend a lot of time thinking about what you're trying to communicate. So the clearer that you can make it, and this is why this is such a wonderful tool to break these big concepts up into these bite-sized, more easy to understand pieces. So it's a really great.
And yeah,
great
you get to
tool.
play with it and go
Yeah.
back and forth. Yeah.
It makes you think. It's not like it just does it for you. You know, you have stuff to put in the effort to
So
work with it.
is this like a copywriter's tool, or is it just a general writer's? I mean, it's like for simple, concise, fast writing. I guess
Yeah, it's
plain
It's a
speech is
general, right. It's a general writer's tool. I first learned about it through Sabri Subi. And he said he puts every single, all of the stuff that he writes, he puts into this tool before it goes out to the public. And so, you know, and part of this is, and I always like to come back to, part of this is knowing your audience. So it could be, you know, if we're talking about the really high level technical audience that say maybe Jonathan's working with, we might not have to break things up quite as much. So it's all depending on who your audience is. But, you know, anytime that you're trying to communicate with, you know, a general large population of people, the, you know, clarity over cleverness every single time. So the clearer that you can make something, the better.
And if you were doing something like, you know, instructions on how to set up your new phone system for general public, you might want to have it like at a grade 6 level, right? To keep it simple as possible.
Right.
I was going to say too that not everyone might know that Shambhala is it's Buddhist, right? So the Buddhist kingdom of Shambhala, like, would everybody automatically know what that is, or would some people reading this maybe not be entirely familiar with it?
It's kind of, yeah, it is. It's based, its background is that it's kind of the new version of it kind of is open to all traditions, to accommodates all traditions. So it's more like an umbrella society approach.
Okay.
Where definitely the Shambhala lineage is from the Buddha. Like the Buddha supposedly talked to this guy Dawa Sangpo,
Okay.
and was
So-
the king of Shambhala.
So maybe then with the I guess now it's the 4th or 5th paragraph, we follow the example of the Buddhist kingdom of Shambhala, just so people sort of know what it is if they're not familiar with it. I mean, honestly, when I see that word, my first thought is the book company, but I figure that's based on something. So, which probably has to do with the books that they publish.
No, that's I'm from that community. I know that guy who founded that publishing company.
For me, it's
I
just
know.
something on the spine of the books.
I put something in the chat. I sort of rearranged the top paragraphs, took it out of a passive voice. I don't know if it's too marketing, but for consideration.
Great.
I guess I was trying to think of how to explain passive, because part of passivity is you're taking something away from being an active agent. So, you know, instead of saying that the car hit the dog, you could say the dog was hit by a car, and suddenly the car is no longer the active agent of hitting dogs. Not that it should be, but you know.
I'm just wondering, and I don't know if this is right, but I wonder if I could move this sentence up here.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I appreciate all the feedback. This has been great. So nice to see.
If this was an email, I would do this. I would make this bold. I would make this bold. And I would make this bold.
And that was good.
And then I would just kill this stuff. So now I accepted one red sentence there because I couldn't find a better way. I'm sure there's a better way but I couldn't find it right now. And I find that it's succinct. It needs to be complex, whereas I took out a bunch of words from this sentence anyway, but I left the red one, but the rest of them have turned to not red.
Yellow is passive.
What does it say?
Yeah.
Green.
Yellow's like the
Oh, it's
next
right here
step
on
down
this
from
one.
red. So it says it's like hard to read, but it's not very hard to read. I pretty much, I think the yellow ones are acceptable in my opinion.
Would you accept one red sentence for your paragraph, Kara? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. As long as it's not all red, I'm good with like one or two.
Well, and you
red.
still got the overall readability is at grade 8. So I mean, that's still that's a good spot.
Well, especially since your customers are not retards.
Right. Exactly.
That always, if your customers are like,
But I am.
well, but you're not the target market, so you're good.
Brought to you by your local.
Educational institution.
Why can't I paste? Thank you. Oh, you want
You know, I mean, retard just means slow, and slow and steady wins the race. So Perhaps we could do
True.
something
Look,
positive.
Brought to you by your
Hedgehog
friendly
coffee.
neighborhood retard.
Copy.
You can put a little note at the bottom to the retards.
Doesn't retard actually mean late again? Because tardy means late, right? And retard means again, late again. Right?
Yeah, it's like, I
Slow.
call all my kids retarded. It's like, you're retarded. Come faster.
And your children are like, my God, that is illegal. I could call the cops on you, father.
All right, friends, this has been great. I'll get the replay uploaded most likely by the end of today, and I'll get the text file so that we all have all the notes. And this has been a great time playing with you guys.
It has been fun. Thank you for all the japery.
Yeah.
I haven't used that word in a while, so I had to throw it in.
Agnieszka, thank you for all of the taking it from red to yellow and white.
Barely pink.
Yeah.
I think it's looking
Yeah.
good.
And this is a great experience. I really enjoy the environment and, you know, all the people that participate. I really feel like this is kind of the model of where we can take all the other things that we're doing. I think we're doing a great job with this. So, thank you.
I made one edit to the one I sent you on Discord, Bobby, so use that one. There's one, I changed this.
That's only one paragraph though, of the 2 pages.
Well, you know,
Now you know how to use Hemingway app. So
and you can
Yeah.
always book an appointment and ask for my help, and I would help you out.
Thanks for showing this to me. It's amazing.
yeah. All right.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
yeah,
everyone,
we're
for being here.
Thanks, everyone. I really enjoyed it. Really useful. Thanks, Cara. Thanks, Agnieszka. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you. I second
Bye,
all
everyone.
of that. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.